Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live coverage of Starlink 12-15 mission launch from the Space Coast, that is from PAT Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. We hope you all are doing fine and excited about the upcoming SpaceX Falcon 9 launch of Starlink. Well, if it's your first time joining us, hi, my name is Dipto Maitra. I'll be your friend and the host, providing commentary for today's mission launch, and you are watching AstroYonder live.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around.
Houston, we see a nominal MECO. Welcome to space.
We are super excited bringing you the coverage of SpaceX's 488th overall launch and the 60th Falcon 9 launch of this year. As SpaceX is on its track to hit their 500th launch this year with only 13 more launches to go. That's a major milestone coming up for them. Now, just a reminder, today's launch is for Starlink direct-to-cell satellites after a brief pause of nearly 3 weeks. Last was the Starlink Group 12-23 back on April 27th, 2025 from here at Cape Canaveral. This launch also marks the 475th Falcon 9's overall launch, and today's launch is the 41st one from Space Coast, as SpaceX is on its way building their record-breaking launch cadence for this year. Right now, we are counting down to a Falcon 9 launch scheduled for 11:58 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:58 hours UTC from Florida, heading on a southeast trajectory for the Starlink Group 12-15 mission, carrying a batch of 23 satellites to low Earth orbit. Now, before we throttle up into today's mission details, we want to thank each one of you for being here with us today on behalf of AstroYonder team and our awesome moderators. We are truly fueled up by your presence and support. That's the trust behind what we can do. So heartfelt thanks to our amazing YouTube community for the perpetual encouragement. Thanks for helping us, bringing you detailed launch coverages packed with all the stats and in-depth insights. We are truly glad to have you on this journey as we count down to the liftoff together. We would love it if you guys can join the chat and let us know from where you are joining from. Also, feel free to share any questions, suggestions, or opinion with us. Please don't be shy, just bring them on, and we would love to hear from you guys. Now, again, just a reminder, it's me only managing the launch coverages on my own, so if by chance we face any technical hiccups or issues, kindly bear with me and hang tight. There is absolutely nothing to worry about and would not let you to miss anything. I will do my best to guide you through the upcoming Falcon 9 rocket launch happening in approximately 38 minutes from now. Now today SpaceX is currently targeting a liftoff time of Falcon 9 from Cape Canaveral in Florida at 11:58 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, May 19th of 2025. Unusually, this launch window extends until only 12:15 a.m. Eastern Daytime, 4:15 hours UTC on Tuesday, May 20th. That's just 17 minutes. Now let's get into the mission details. According to the 45th Weather Squadron officials, today it's quite a promising and fair weather conditions for the launch. A report published by 45th Weather Squadron officials indicates that there's a 95% chances of favorable weather conditions at the time of launch, with only 5% launch weather constraint violations related to cumulus cloud rule. Otherwise, it's a 95% go for today's launch. The forecast calls for a temperature of 27 degrees Celsius, overcast clouds with 100% cloud cover, and a wind speed of 13 miles per hour. Now let's take a look at the payload details for Starlink Group 12-15 mission. Starlink satellite built in Redmond, Washington. Today's payload consists of 23 Starlink version 2 mini satellites, including 13 direct-to-cell satellites. Once again, just a reminder, today's payload does not consist of any newer optimized Starlink version 2 mini satellites. These are the regular and the basic version 2 mini variant of Starlink satellites. Today's launch is the 43rd dedicated Starlink mission of the year. Before this launch, SpaceX had already sent up 1,018 Starlink satellites in 2025 alone, surpassing the 1,000 mark. With this launch, the count jumps to 1,041, and if we include the 14 version 3 variants launched on previous 2 Starship flights, those simulator ones, the count rises more with a total of 1,055 Starlinks launched to date. That's really a remarkable pace SpaceX is on right now. Now, each of these version 2 mini satellites comes with 5 Ku band phased array antennas, 3 dual band parabolic antennas utilizing Ka and E band, and a 100-foot wide solar array split into 2 aeroneutral wings for agile space maneuvers. They are also equipped with high capacity battery to power everything on board. Each Starlink satellite features 3 space laser transponders, also known as optical intersatellite links, or ISL in short, for communicating with space lasers moving data at up to speeds of 200 Gbps. For maneuvering in space, these satellites uses Hall effect thrusters powered by argon, which was previously based on krypton, and this smart switch was basically due to the cost effectiveness of argon compared to krypton. Now today's payload will be deployed in an orbit with an altitude of approximately 284 kilometers with an inclination of 43 degrees. But the operational orbit will be an altitude of 560 kilometers with the same inclination, that is of 43 degrees. Each version 2 mini satellite weighs approximately 1,763 pounds, equivalent to 800 kilograms. Now here's just for the context, each of the optimized version of Starlink satellite weighs around 1,268 pounds, or you can say 575 kilograms, which is about 22% lighter than the original version 2 mini design that is going to be launched today. Starlink satellite uses custom-built star tracker to find their position, altitude, and orientation for optimal broadband throughput. And each one has 4 reaction wheels for precise attitude control, or you can say the orientation control, plus a hot spare setup for the reliability. Their aluminum flywheel is designed to safely burn at the end of their useful life upon re-entry. Now, additionally, they have an onboard autonomous collision avoidance system that uses the US Department of Defense debris tracking database for avoiding collisions with space junk, other spacecrafts, and other Starlink satellites, all by autonomously. Now, to understand the significance of autonomous collision avoidance system, here is a short and quick context. According to a SpaceX report, Starlink satellite performs 275 collision avoidance maneuvers each day, and in that course of past 6 months when this report got published, to be precise it was last year, Starlink satellite performed 50,000 collision avoidance maneuvers. So I hope these numerical figures can make you sense the importance of an autonomous collision avoidance system. Now some quick fun facts on Group 6-39 launched on February 25th, 2024 last year from Cape Canaveral was the first mission to carry 24 version 2 minis, the most ever back then. On January 21st, 2025 this year, with Group 11-8, SpaceX launched 28 optimized, just mind it, optimized one version 2 mini satellites for the first time, breaking the previous record count of 24. Then just after around over a period of 2 months, on March 31st, 2025, with Group 6-80, they launched 28 optimized version 2 minis for the first time, and this time surpassing the previous high of 27. Now, interestingly, with recent May 4, 2025 Starlink launch of Group 6-84, SpaceX broke its own record again by launching 29 version 2 mini satellites, beating the previous max of 28. As of now, that was the biggest batch yet for version 2 mini variants. In comparison, the highest for version 1 is 60 satellites, and for version 1.5, it's 56. Before today's launch, SpaceX launched 18 times of its optimized version 2 mini variant, bringing the total to 493 number of satellites. Now, once again, just to remind you, today's payload does not consist any of upgraded optimized Starlink version 2 minis on board. This batch features the regular baseline version 2 mini satellites. Now, while speaking of SpaceX's direct-to-cell satellite, direct-to-cell is a technology developed by Starlink team. In easy words, it's like having a cell phone tower in space, and this technology allows our cell phones to connect directly to the satellites. Now, imagine we are in a remote area where there is no cell tower nearby. Normally, in that scenario, we would not get any signal on our phone. But with direct to cell, our phones can get a signal directly from a Starlink satellite overhead. We don't need to make any changes to our existing LTE phone. It's designed to work with common LTE standards with absolute no changes to hardware, firmware, or any special apps required. Whether you are on land, lakes, coastal waters, or even in the air, as long as you can see the sky, you can get a signal. Now, here's also a quick fun fact. SpaceX's first launch of 2024 with Group Starlink 7-9 deployed the first set of 6 Starlink satellites with direct to cell capabilities. And now, today, we are having hands on experience of this technology in its beta testing phase. So it's quite amazing how fast it went. Oh, now let's take a look at the flight record for the booster supporting today's Starlink 12-15 mission. Well, it's a new booster. So today's booster with tail number 1095 supporting today's mission is a newcomer marking its debut flight. This is the first mission for boosters booster with tail number 1095, and it has not flown any previous missions. So in that case, booster turnaround time is not relevant today as this is the booster's maiden flight. Currently awaiting its first mission to be getting supported approximately 26 minutes from now. Now just a quick recap. This is the booster's first flight from Slick 40, that is Space Launch Complex 40. First time supporting its Starlink mission and its first drone ship landing, which happens to be on just read the instructions. So now let's move on and have a look at the bar graph showing number of Falcon 9 launches each year. Before this upcoming launch, SpaceX completed its 59th Falcon 9 launch for this year with Starlink 15-5 mission launch from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg on May 16th, 2025, obscuring the number of annual launches made till year 2021. SpaceX is now having 28 more launches than the year 2021. Now with today's launch of Starlink 12-15 mission, the bar graph shows 60 number of Falcon 9 launches for 2025. And as of now, SpaceX is yet to reach even the half of the launches made last year. That's supposed to be 66 if we will be making it half of the last year's launch count. But SpaceX is now less than halfway to reach the number of launches made in year 2022 and 2023. With today's launch, SpaceX trails 2022 by just only one launch and 36 short of 2023. We know last year SpaceX pulled off 132 Falcon 9 launches, marking a year with the highest annual launches to date with a total of 134 launches, including 2 Falcon Heavy flights. Now, SpaceX is again now aiming for another record-breaking year with around 172 to 180 Falcon 9 launches just alone, apart from upcoming planned Falcon Heavy launches, if any, surpassing last year's highest annual launch count. So it's a pretty ambitious target hinted by a previous tweet from Elon Musk, but let's hope they pull it off. Now, if this stream fuels your love for space, give this stream a like. It's like kind of fine-tuning the trajectory of our mission to build a community with amazing space enthusiasts just like you. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so that you won't miss a single launch update. Here at AstroYonder, we believe together we will build the ultimate constellation of space enthusiasts. And for that, we would be super grateful for your kind support. Now, as always, I will be skipping the pre-launch timeline since it's a typical Falcon 9 launch for Starlink with absolutely no alterations and or deviations in any of the pre-launch events. However, there is one point I would like to highlight just for quick knowledge and which you might be already aware of, that the strong back reclining process at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center differs from that at Vandenberg. Here at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center, we recline the strong back about a degree and a half, whereas at Vandenberg, we recline the strong back about 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9. So that's the only thing that's different in today's pre-launch schedule, as this is a Cape Canaveral flight. Now, once again, just to remind you, SpaceX is currently targeting a liftoff time of the Falcon 9 from Cape Canaveral in Florida at 11:58 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, May 19th of 2025. Now let's go ahead and briefly step through the trajectory for today's Starlink mission. Falcon 9 leaving the pad from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station with a batch of 23 Starlink satellites on board for a southeast trajectory heading into low Earth orbit. That is to the 12th shell of second generation Starlink mega constellation indicated by that green line on your screen. The red line indicates where Falcon 9 first stage will land after stage separation, just a little later, leaving Florida's Space Coast. Today's mission is supported by Just Read the Instructions drone ship, one of the two here on the East Coast. This will going to be the 119th landing on Just Read the Instructions drone ship if successful. And some recovery specifics for you guys. The planned booster recovery is approximately 595 kilometers. 595 kilometers with estimated fairing recovery approximately 626 kilometers downrange. And the stage 2 debris re-entry will be in the South Atlantic or Indian Ocean on its second orbit. Now here are some of the stats related to drone ships as of today on your screen right now. Currently, as we know, there are 3 in SpaceX's drone ship fleet. Of the 3 drone ships, Just Read the Instructions and a shortfall of Gravitas are stationed here in Florida, while of course I Still Love You is stationed in California. We are still anticipating the addition of a 4th drone ship as promised by SpaceX earlier, and possibly that can occur later this year or early next year, who knows, because we are not getting any information or any clue regarding that. Now, speaking of fairing recovery, the 2 halves of the payload fairing will be recovered slightly farther, approximately 31 kilometers downrange from where the first stage lands on the Just Read the Instructions drone ship after they will smoothly splash down with the guidance of parachutes. SpaceX will utilize a recovery vessel to retrieve them from the Atlantic waters. And as we know, the total cost of both the fairing halves is nearly $6 million, and SpaceX manufactures them in-house. So it's quite obvious that SpaceX will aim to recover the fairings for repetitive use, mirroring their approach similar to the rocket boosters, upholding the motto of reusability and sustainability. Now on your screen, you can see how a fairing recovery operation looks like. The recovery vessel on your screen right now is Doug performing the recovery operations here at the Atlantic, but Bob being today's supporting recovery vessel, one of the three here at the East Coast. Other recovery vessels, Doug and Go Cosmos, here at the East Coast, and Go Beyond at the West Coast, are awaiting their next assignment. Now, we have a request for you guys once again. If you feel like we are adding value to your viewing experience, please consider giving this stream a like as your way of boosting us past max Q through the maximum dynamic stress of the YouTube's algorithm. It helps us connect with more space enthusiasts like you, and as we are burning our midnight propellant to bring you streams. So we expect your kind support by smashing the subscribe button and turning on the bell notification. And with that, you will never miss an upcoming stream, and your support would help us a lot. Now we are about 10 minutes from the webcast to begin. So let's just quickly get done with the stats waiting for you to have for today's mission. So coming to the stats related to today's mission launch. Today's launch marks the 488th SpaceX's overall launch and the 43rd dedicated Starlink launch of this year. This is going to be the 475th Falcon 9 launch to date. First flight of this particular Falcon 9 booster supporting today's mission with tail number 1095, a big day for the booster. Today's mission marks 60th Falcon 9 launch and SpaceX's 62nd overall launch of 2025. This will be the 417th Falcon booster reflight to date. That is the launch of a booster that has flown at least once before. Well, I made a mistake. It's a typo, you can say. It should not be 417th. It should be 416th. Because we are flying for the booster for the first time, so kindly pardon, it's the first time I'm making this mistake. It should be 416 Falcon booster reflight to date, 252nd orbital launch for SpaceX launching from Space Launch Complex 40, and the 307th orbital launch from pad Slick 40. With the success of this mission, SpaceX will have a remarkable 8,687 Starlink satellites, including 622 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites launched to date. Prior to today's mission, the total number of direct-to-cell satellites launched stood at 609. Now, once again, I will beg your pardon that I made this mistake about the reflights. So here also, it will be the 400 reflight of Falcon 9 booster to date. SpaceX is having 400 reflight of the Falcon 9 booster to date with the previous Starlink mission. As today's one is the first time they are flying the booster, it won't be getting counted as a reflight. So it should be 400, but on your screen it's 401. It's a major mistake I made, so it's my sincere apologies for that. This will be the 119th landing on Just Read the Instructions drone ship. First landing of this first stage booster with tail number 1095. With this booster landing, SpaceX racks up its 359th drone ship landing, the 429th Falcon 9 landing, and the 448th landing across all boosters to date. Speaking of drone ship landings, uh, here are some of the stats for drone ship landings prior to today's mission. Please don't get confused by the numbers shown on your screen, and kindly note that these drone ship landing stats on your screen right now are excluding today's mission. These are prior to today's launch. Now let's have a look into some key stats for SpaceX launches specifically for this year, including today's mission. With today's mission, SpaceX will be having its 62nd launch of this year, and out of those, 43 are Starlink missions, including today's one. 17 were non-Starlink mission for commercial and government organizations, and 2 Starship launches. Once again, I don't know how many times I have to say sorry today because I made this mistake with the reflights of the booster. Here also the reuse booster count will be 56, not 57, which is displayed on your screen right now because we are flying today's booster for the first time. So prior to today's launch, it's 56 number of these missions using a reuse booster. Now, if we look into geographical distribution, we get SpaceX will be having 41 launches from East Coast, with 13 from Launch Complex 39A, that is Kennedy Space Center, and 28 with today's mission from Space Launch Complex 40, that is from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. On the West Coast, having 19 launches from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base. And as of now, 2 launches from Gulf Coast at Starbase in Texas, with the Starship's 7th and 8th test flights, and 2 super heavy booster catches for both of those test flights. Now, a recent static fire test of Ship 35, we know, which got scrubbed after having engine issues, but fortunately all went good on its second attempt, and to be true, it's the third attempt as confirmed by SpaceX. But there are some speculations or rumors going on around about the possible damage to one of the Raptor vacuum engines, which is reportedly being replaced. So we might see another static fire test for Ship 35. So it's just a random guess. It's my speculation though. Now, being hopeful, the NOTAMs suggest that the launch can be possible between May 22nd to 31st, with a 2-hour launch window opening at 23:30 hours UTC for each day, with current assumptions supporting 27th of May for the launch of Starship Flight 9. SpaceX is not SpaceX, FAA is yet to getting close with, or you can say getting done with the Flight 8 mishap report. So maybe that is causing the delay. And there are some good news meanwhile. SpaceX got approval for 25 launches per year from Starbase, and Starbase is now a city geographically. Now moving on with the stats again. For landing, they will be nearing it for the 58th time this year. Most of the landings are on drone ship with 49 landings. And for ground landings, they pulled off 9 of them. SpaceX is now working on adding a landing pad at East Coast in order to retain the return to launch site, also known as RTLS capabilities. as because SpaceX's lease for landing zone 1 and landing zone 2 is will be expiring in the month of July. Prior to today's launch, the success rate for ground landing is 98.89%. For drone ship, it is 96.76%, and the overall landing success rate is 97.17%. This year, there is a drop in the landing success rate, as we know, for the failure of booster with tail number 1086 to land on just read the instructions drone ship during Starlink Group 12-20 mission. That's why we are having 98.28% landing success rate for this year. Today's mission marks the 124th launch since last mission failure, that is the Starlink 9-3 mission. Once again, these page of stats are also prior to today's launch, and what we have here is 134 launches last year, the highest annual launches for SpaceX to date. 123 successful launches since last mission failure with Starlink 9-3. 33 successful landings since last landing failure with Starlink 12-20. 336 missions with at least one reused fairing, and approximately 640 number of fairing halves were reused prior to today's launch. Moving on to this year's orbital launches, including today's one. With this 109th orbital launch attempt of the year, United States is leading with 70 launches, followed by China with 28 launches, Russia with 5 launches, 1 launch by Japan, India with 2, and Europe with 3 launches. Australia is about to debut with the launch of Ares rocket, which got scrubbed on its initial attempt due to some fairing half issues. And also it's worth noting that there have been 4 failed orbital launch attempts so far this year. Now on your screen is a pie chart showing the 2025 orbital launches by rocket variations, including today's one. While you check out the pie chart, let me see if the stream is up or not, as it's time for the webcast to begin. Yep, it's live. So that's a nice thing, quite on time. So let's head over, and please provide me a couple of seconds to set things up for the stream. SpaceX has some pre-launch tunes going on. I will patch in the mission audio feed once it drops. Now, adding value to your viewing experience here at AstroYonder is our top priority. If you felt we somewhat achieved that as of now, please consider liking this stream.
Are pressing for strong back retract.
That helps others to find out this stream. And we got the first call out. We are now pressurizing the tanks. We are adding a bit of gas to firm up the tanks so that the clamp arms can open with a solid structure holding the Falcon 9. Soon, I guess we will be getting some closer views for that. Once the arms are open, we will start reclining the strong back about 1.5 degrees away from the Falcon 9, since it's a Space Coast flight. And we did got the call out that the strong back retraction is now underway. We are less than T minus 5 seconds and counting. All systems are go for on-time liftoff. While watching the live view of Falcon 9, a couple of important steps were completed. The spacecraft team switched to internal power a few minutes ago, and fueling of the Falcon 9 first stage is finished, meaning all the RP-1 prop is now on board. We are still loading liquid oxygen on both the first and second stages, and we will be listening in couple of seconds for LOX load completion for the second for both the stages. Next event, as we are now undergoing through the strong back retraction. Today they are not providing us some close-up views, but let's talk about a little bit for the strong back. It's a structure next to Falcon 9 that carries air conditioning, electrical signals, pressurization gases, and propellants to the spacecraft and the both stages. It also provides air conditioning for the payload fairing at the top. And to prepare for the retraction, the clamp arms at the very top of the second stage, just below the payload fairing, which got open, and this strong back operation is operated hydraulically. Now coming up on T minus 35 seconds, everything continues to be go. We are currently chilling in the Merlin engines back from T minus 7 minutes when we open the pre-valves, which allows the propellant down on the engines to get them prepared for the ignition just before T0. I guess we have a scrub. We did got a call out for launch abort have been started, so I think for it's a scrub countdown on hold. But okay, fine, let's wait until they are not getting done with the stream. Currently they are not progressing with the countdown also. Oh well, we are getting the view back for the Falcon 9. As it's the first flight of the booster, so it's quite nominal that there can be some issues. Although we know SpaceX is quite proficient doing their job and they're doing things quite well. So we have a new adjustment right now. I guess they shifted off the countdown back to T minus 15 minutes. Let's see if the countdown starts rolling or not. Meanwhile, let me check what is the issue, if they gave any updates on X or not. The countdown is not started yet. We are still in the hold. As of now, SpaceX didn't provided any update for the countdown hold why it's happening. But I guess it's for the new booster being on the flight supporting today's mission. So I guess it should be a nominal issue and we will be having the launch, because today we are having only 17 minutes of the launch window, and it's a little bit making me skeptical, because for the launch window, as I mentioned in the very beginning of the stream, that today's launch window extends only until only 12:15 a.m. Eastern Daytime, 4:15 hours UTC on Tuesday, May 20th. So there's that's just 17 minutes, and from when the stream started, I guess they will be crossing that timeline. So now they made the countdown timer also to go away. But let's wait and let's be hopeful that whether we will be having the launch or not. Let's check it and let's get down with that then. Should not be leaving in between. But did we cross the 12 hours? 0 hours there at US. We are just 1 minute left, and it will be so we got to be now on May 20th with 00 hours. So meanwhile, let me change the date as because it's no more May 19th. We are still on hold, and yet they won't be launching. It's a scrub for today. Well, that was quite inevitable because, as I said, that they will be crossing today's launch window. But anyways, it's better to have a scrub than to have a rapid unscheduled disassembly. So with that, I won't be sharing today. Already I made a mistake with the Falcon reflights during the stats. So again, once again, I will beg your pardon and my sincere apologies for that. So with that, we will wrap up our coverage for now. But before that, want to thank you for wherever you are watching our live launch coverage. It's really impossible to do this broadcast without your encouragement. So thank you for your continued support of what we do here at AstroYonder. We appreciate everyone joining us for today's launch. Wishing you a nice week ahead. Be sure to check out our social media handle on X for the latest happenings in space industry and updates on upcoming launches. And I can't say that you enjoyed the stream, but well, we got some cool views of Falcon 9. And as of today, it's a scrub. Hopefully, they will be launching tomorrow if there are no major issues with the booster. Once again, thanks for watching. This is AstroYonder Live and me, Dipto, signing off for now, and we will see you next time.